Thank you for watching NMH at 1, where we take a look at the news making headlines in the land of the brave and beyond, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. In the news today, Meatco bleeds $5 million Namibian a week. Health Minister overspends budget by 462 million Namibian dollars. The Defense Ministry says officials are abusing military benefits. I am Glenora Shipura. In our midday news update, the funeral service of Theo Botzlap, the owner of Theo Spar in Oshuarongo, and a man who has made a significant impact in the town and throughout Namibia, began at 10 a.m. this morning at the Pariese Stadium. Hundreds of people are currently attending the service, including prominent figures such as Vice President Nangolo Mbumba, Oshadonjuba Region Governor James Urikwa, Oshuarongo Mayor Gottlieb Shivute, as well as local and South African executives from the Spar Retail Group. Remember to engage with these stories on our social media throughout the broadcast. Visual news coming up on the other side of the break.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, Oneuptwo.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Let's get into our visual news from across the regions. Joachim von Wittersheim, one of the organizers of the Cusco Festival, speaks about the first night of the festival and what is expected from the festival for the coming days. Desiree Gasses reports. Let's take a look.
Yes, welcome to the Cusco. My name is Joachim von Wittersheim. I'm a member of the Elberrat, or the Council of 11, how we call it, that you can see by the cap I wear. We are the main organizing committee, or sort of the executive of the Swakopmunda Karnevalsverein, the Cusco. We have, of course, two more committees and a lot of helpers, and only together we can put this event on stage. Tonight, we start off in our so-called carnival season with the Royal Ball, the Prinsenball, where the new royal couple for the season 2023-2024 will be revealed and presented. They will be honored by a visit of our mayoress of Swakopmund, handed over the key of the town as a symbol that they are ruling now, at least for the carnival week. Then tonight we have some dances, we will have some short speeches, and then a bit of a protocol, the handover to the new royal couple, the mayoress will come on stage, there will be gifts exchange and so on. So today is a bit more protocol. Tomorrow, on Friday, we have our international evening, so the program is in English and Afrikaans. And there we will have more speeches, humorous talks, some dances, and that will be a more fun-filled protocol, less protocol attached, because Carnival is about having fun, laughing, just enjoying, having a good time, and forgetting a bit about the sorrows of the day. So we are very much looking forward.
In our next video, Hope Initiative of Southern Africa in Namibia yesterday concluded their GBV project that started in 2020 to 2023, which was aimed at curbing, combating GBV and violence and empowering women and children in Khomas, Oshadonjipa, and other Namibian regions by empowering communities, men and boys, to be human rights defenders and change agents. They also launched their new project aimed at supporting community-led youth and women CSOs, informal settlement action groups / consortiums in peri-urban and rural settlements of Namibia's Khomas, Oshadonjipa, and Omusati regions in upholding and promoting and enabling environment to engage in gender equality and youth inclusion. Now, Deputy Head of the EU delegation, Gosia Lashut, spoke on the success. Junior Kapofi reports. Let's take a look.
The one that we are closing today has been a real flagship project for the European Union here in Namibia in supporting the fight against GBV. Your activities strengthened violence prevention systems in informal settlements, empowered and gave new hope to women, and as we see, involved all the relevant stakeholders, including the city police, councillors, and of course the faith-based organizations. And at the same time, your initiative also enabled men and boys to become defenders and agents of change. So congratulations for everything you have achieved and for supporting some of the most vulnerable members of the Namibian society. Congratulations to the entire community and of course HISA team. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, violence against women and children is a structural and a global phenomenon that knows no social, economic or national boundaries. It is a serious violation of human rights, the most drastic form of discrimination, and unfortunately it remains widely unsanctioned. Every day in Namibia, and we can read it in any newspaper, women and children, but also men, to far lesser extent, at least it is recorded, are psychologically, physically and sexually abused. Most of the time in the safety of their own homes. The European Union will keep on working tirelessly with its partners across the world to strengthen legal frameworks and institutions to promote women empowerment and to combat gender-based violence.
The defense minister says lust for money is the root cause of corruption within military ranks. An update on this story follows in the newspaper review segment after the break.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Let's take a look at today's daily newspapers. The Namibian Sun reports that Defense Minister Frans Kapofi yesterday said there are officials within military ranks profiteering from the benefits and camouflage offered by the defense machinery. With military vehicles hardly searched at police checkpoints, Kapofi says some chance takers use the benefit to transport illegal goods using official vehicles for their gain. However, he was quick to point out that ill-disciplined soldiers should not be misconstrued as a reflection of the entire army. On page 3 of the Namibian Sun, National Planning Commissioner Director General Obeth Kanjothe says the harbour town of Luderitz will be flooded with jobs once the green hydrogen project commences. He was speaking during the launch of the formulation process of the 6th National Development Plan. We will start with the Karas region for however long it takes, moving through Hardap. Thereafter, we will spread out to the rest of the country. Luterates will be flooded by the number of jobs this project will bring. According to him, ministers have direct instructions to visit every town in Namibia to give overviews of the green hydrogen project, its benefits, and the job opportunities attached to it. Nakanjode also rubbish claims that the government is irresponsibly borrowing money to fund its equity in this project. Republican reports that while Namibia only sold 57 of the 170 elephants it offered for sale in 2020, the Environment Ministry says the sale of live elephants is still one of the measures it will employ to reduce or mitigate human-elephant conflict. In a recent presentation, Director of Scientific Services Eli Hamuniela said the ministry advertised the sale of 170 live elephants in December 2020. This was in response to the drought and an increase in animal numbers coupled with human-elephant conflict incidents. These elephants are from the Omasheshe area, the Kamanyap commercial farming area, the Grootfontein Kavango cattle ranch area, and the Grootfontein Sumkwe area. The 57 elephants were sold to 3 bidders, raising $5.9 million Namibian. The ministry aimed to generate at least $13 million Namibian from the sale. Also in the Republican, from using food waste to create compost and seafood waste to create a food alternative to using an app to collect all food waste items, the participants in this year's Capricorn Foundation Food Waste Challenge wore their passion on their sleeves during the Eagles Den pitch event. The Impact Tank Analysis Foundation from Windhoek proposes to collect food waste at homes. 60% of all food waste occurs at a household level, said Tatenda Gombo. After collection, it will be turned into compost. The compost will then be sold to the Namibian market and can lead to soil improvement and better crops in the future. The Allgemeine Zeitung runs with the Meat Industry Act of 1981 that will be amended to give the Meat Council oversight of milk and dairy products, as well as poultry and poultry products, including eggs, thereby strengthening Namibian producers, controlling imports, and most importantly, reducing imports. Accordingly, the Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land stressed in Parliament on Wednesday that the amendment to the Meat Industry Act gives the Meat Council control not only over cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, and products derived from them, but also for poultry, meat, and eggs, and dairy products. On page 3, the Allgemeine Zeitung reports on the All People's Party, which appears to have an untrustworthy secretary on staff in addition to financial hardship. In addition to a multitude of lawsuits, he is also alleged to have failed to properly manage and / or repay a chunk of borrowed money. Now, according to the report, the All People's Party has owed over 300,000 Namibian dollars for 3 years to a company partly owned by its incumbent president, Erastus Shambowa, and his siblings. Now, after the break, we continue with more newspaper review.
To another exciting episode of Oneuptwo. Jullie is die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik kan byt.
We continue with our newspaper review. The Namibian reports that the Ministry of Health and Social Services has spent 462.1 million Namibian dollars, more than what was allotted for the 2021 to 2022 fiscal year, after receiving an allocation of 8 billion Namibian dollars. This is according to a Health Ministry audit report tabled by Auditor General Junius Kanjeke in the National Assembly this week. This amount is unauthorized in terms of Section 6A of the State Finance Act of 1991, Kanjeke said. He said although Treasury approval was obtained to utilize certainly expected savings for the deferral of expenditure through variaments during the year under review, 17 subdivisions were exceeded with a total amount of 608.3 million Namibian dollars. Now on page 3, almost half of the country's population is faced with poverty, says Prime Minister Sarah Amadila. She said the government had reduced poverty from 38% to about 18%. However, matters have since worsened. If you look at the new formula to calculate poverty, close to 50% of the population is living in poverty, she said. Since 2016, the country experienced a macroeconomic deterioration, which exposed Namibia's vulnerability to external shocks, Kukongwela Amadila said. These had a negative impact on our poverty and inequality. In fact, the gains we made in reducing poverty were almost completely wiped out, she said. On New Era's front page, when the Meat Corporation of Namibia's top brass meets in Grootfontein this weekend, the elephant in the room will be the amount of at least $5 million Namibian the parastatal is losing a week. Meatco's annual general meeting kicks off today. Their losses are contained in a forensic report by Ombu Capital, a firm owned by former Standard Bank Namibia CEO Vetumbaovi Mungunda. The report is dated 22nd of March 2023. It documents a 7-month process of analysis and sector-wide consultation and recommends what the authors view as a viable business model for Meatco's long-term sustainability. On page 3 of the New Era, despite assurances from the police regarding the completion and submission of the investigation report into the accident involving Police Chief Joseph Shikongo, the docket is yet to reach the Prosecutor General's office. Nearly 3 months have passed since the police told the media that the impending investigation into the accident, where 3 lives were tragically lost in December, is almost complete. Now, MarketWatch reports that the Namibian economy in real terms posted a growth of 5% during the first quarter of 2023, a slow growth when compared to a growth of 7.3% posted in the corresponding quarter of 2022, according to the Namibia Statistics Agency. Now, last year, the domestic economy expanded by 4.6%. Looking at the value, the real gross domestic product was estimated at $36.8 billion Namibian during the first quarter of 2023, compared to $34.9 billion Namibian recorded in the corresponding quarter of 2022. Without taking inflation into account, GDP was estimated at around $54.2 billion Namibian in the first quarter of 2023, compared to $47.4 billion Namibian in the first quarter of 2022. Now, FirstRand expects South Africa's economy to shrink. More on this story in our economic news on the other side of the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Let's take a look at our economic news. While FirstRand expects the South African economy to shrink this year, along with a good chance of more rate hikes, it still expects strong earning growth. In a trading update on Wednesday, the group said the business should deliver underlying earnings growth in the second half, similar to that produced in the first half. In its first half, the group grew normalized earnings by 15% to 18 billion rands. The bank expects its normalized return on equity to remain at the upper end of 18% to 22%. The group credited its financial discipline as well as good customer growth for its performance. Now, FirstRand said its customer-facing businesses are resilient and have attracted more customer deposits. RMB grew deposits by an average of 15% in the first half of FirstRand's financial year, and FMBs increased by 11% to 810.9 billion rands. FirstRand's lending businesses became more conservative in their lending approach during the pandemic up to early 2022. The group CEO, Alan Palnger, also attributed FirstRand's special dividend at the end of its 2022 financial year to the decision to tighten lending appetite during that period, even warning that other banks grew their share in risky income. Now let's take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.55, against the euro at 20.12, against the US dollar at 18.51, and 2 Namibian dollars and 58 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the selected NSX, Capricorn Investment, FirstRand and Letshego Holdings went up. Overall index closed at 1.27%, going down, while the local index went up 1.13%. All commodities went up except for Brent crude oil, trading at 1.38%, going for $73 and 48 cents per barrel. With that, we conclude our economic news. Moving on, African Development Bank's president urges rich countries to keep financial commitments. Stay with NMH at 1 for more on this story.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Let's take a look at our news from across the continent. The president of the African Development Bank is in Paris for the so-called summit for a new global financial pact. Speaking on Wednesday ahead of the launch of the talks, Akinwumi Adesina aimed at rich countries whose financial commitments to Africa, some dating back to 2009, had not yet been honored. Africa alone loses 7 to 15 billion US dollars a year because of climate change, and that's going to rise to almost 50 billion US dollars a year by 2040. So the world has to meet its commitment, the developed countries, of the 100 billion US dollars. I mean, it's a very small amount of money compared to the scale of the problem, but by not meeting it, it has a crisis of trust in developing countries. Now, French President Macron is hosting over 50 heads of state. World finance officials and activists are also in attendance. The summit aims to seek better responses to tackle poverty and climate crises issued by reshaping the global financial system. Now, developing nations have pointed to a system where the USA, Europe, and other big economies that have caused the most climate damage are their main creditors and leave the poorest countries to deal with the consequences of the climate crisis. We'll get into your international news shortly. The 5 people on board a submersible visiting the wreck of the Titanic died after a catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. A top-secret United States Navy acoustic detection system picked up a sound anomaly in the North Atlantic that was likely the fatal implosion of the Titan submersible that was lost with 5 people on board while on expedition to the wreck of the Titanic. Now, according to a senior military official, the Navy went back and analyzed acoustic data after the Titan submersible was reported missing on Sunday and found an anomaly consistent with an explosion in the general vicinity of where the Titan submersible was operating when communications were lost. The Navy passed the information to the U.S. Coast Guard, which continued its search for the Titan because the Navy did not consider the data to be definitive. The senior Navy official told the Associated Press news agency on Thursday. The Wall Street Journal reported the Navy's involvement and the detection of the acoustics from the deep sea, the latest piece in the jigsaw regarding the fate of the Titan and its 5 occupants following the discovery of debris on Thursday that was consistent with a missing vessel operated by OceanGate Expeditions. Now, after the break, we get into your local sports news.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, Oneuptwo.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Let's take a look at our local sports news before we get into your international sports news. Namibia's under-16 rugby national team ahead of their departure to the Grand Como week set to take place from the 25th to the 30th of June. It will be held at the Hoër Landbouwskool Boland in Paarl, South Africa. The competition will see 23 athletes take part, accompanied by their head coach Jan Dames, forward coach Morne Rust, backline coach Devin Alcock, and the team manager Rialdo van Wyk. Now in our next story, Nedbank Namibia announced the return of its premier mass participation event, the Nedbank City Dash 2023, which promises to be an unparalleled experience for runners and the community alike. Scheduled for the 10th of September in the heart of Windhoek, this momentous gathering signifies the joy of interaction, the renewal of communal bonds, and shared experience after the challenging silence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the second round of the Namibian Rugby Premier League commences tomorrow, with the title race still wide open and some interesting top-of-the-log clashes in store. Log leaders FNB Wanderers will host 4th place FNB Rehoboth at the Wanderers Field, while 2nd place FNB Kudus will host 3rd place Trasco United at Walvis Bay. Let's take a look at our international sports news. Now, the American owner of the English Premier League giants Chelsea on Thursday sealed a deal to take control of French League One outfit Strasbourg. The consortium announced this agreement marks a new chapter in the history of Strasbourg, as the consortium is committed to accelerating sustainable investment in the growth of the club, the Blueco consortium said in a statement. Now, Venus Williams narrowly failed to reach her first WTA quarterfinal in 4 years, as the American legend was beaten by Jelena Ostapenko in second round in Birmingham on Thursday. Red Bull boss Christian Horner recognized after Sunday's landmark Canadian Grand Prix that his runway Formula One leader could win every race this season. After the break, we get into your news highlights. Do stay with us.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
to another exciting episode of Oneuptwo. Jou is die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik kan byt.
If you are just joining us, this is NMH at 1, and we'll get into the highlights from today's broadcast shortly. But first, here are a few events that you might want to add to your social calendar this weekend.
Good day, NMH at 1 viewers. My name is Michael Kayunde, and welcome to the Weekend Gig Guy segment. This is the segment where I get to let you guys know of some of the hit and happening events that are happening over the weekend in and around the country. To start with, you can catch that is Chill Sessions tonight on Namibian Sun's Facebook page. That is at 1900 hours. And you can also catch the repeat of the show that is tomorrow at 7:30 on NTV on DSTV. That's the show where we get to take you in and around the country, counting down the trending music video for the week. Moving along with other events you can still catch this weekend, you can catch that is the National Orchestra happening at NTN today and tomorrow. Tickets are $150 via web tickets, and the shows start at 1900. So that is today as well as tomorrow for the National Orchestra. Moving along with another event that you can still catch this weekend is the Emmys Day Club that is taking place at Showgrounds. That's on Sunday. Performances, or DJ sets rather, by the likes of Sedated, Freddy, DJ Dreas himself, and more. Those are some of the events that are taking place. Please make sure that you go out there and support and also have fun responsibly. So from me, Michael, until next time, it's bye-bye.
Let's now get into the news highlights from today's broadcast. The president of the African Development Bank is in Paris for the so-called Summit for a New Global Financial Pact aimed at rich countries whose financial commitments to Africa, some dating back to 2009, had not yet been honored. The 5 people on board a submersible visiting the wreck of the Titanic died after a catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Nedbank Namibia announced the return of its premier mass participation event, the Nedbank City Dash 2023, which promises to be an unparalleled experience for runners and the community alike. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia, Africa, and the world, ranging from current affairs, economic news, sports, and international headlines. From me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.